Welcome back to Trust TV. I'm your consumer investigator, Dale Cardwell. The country singer Willie Nelson provides us with a good introduction to this segment. He supposedly asked, do you know why divorces are so expensive? The answer, because they're worth it. Here to perhaps agree with Willie's comments are two brilliant attorneys we have with us. Today, my trusted personal injury attorney, Stephen Liebell, and family lawyer, Robert Tharp. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. So, Steve, you are the expert attorney when it comes to personal injuries, but I'd like us to steer this conversation with Bob into understanding some common questions people have about divorce.
Well, it's my pleasure to be here, Dale, and divorce is a very difficult situation for many people, sometimes stemming from car accidents and other injuries. But people come to me and say, well, how long does it take to take care of this case? How long will it take? And I'm sure that you have the same common question, so maybe you can give us a little bit of an insight of what people say to you and what you tell them.
Well, first, thanks, Dale, for having me out here. It is something that varies every case. Some cases are simple. They will resolve themselves within 30, 60, 90 days. And that's when the parties are getting together, they're working things out, and they're able to come to a quick resolution of things. Unfortunately, there's also a group of cases that tend to go on. Sometimes there's needed things like discovery to find out about the financial assets that are in the case. And as you go through these different matters, they can go on 6 months, a year, or sometimes even multiple years, depending upon what's needed in the case.
You know, every time you turn around, you have such different circumstances that affect people's lives. And what did you find to be the most unusual divorce case that you ever handled?
Well, I think they're all unusual, actually. Some cases have just different, parts of it. We think about divorces a lot of times in terms of cheating or alcohol and stuff like that, but a lot of times people have grown apart. I won't go into any specific cases on, what may happen in certain cases, but they're all unique. And every one of them has some variance that makes it unique in their situation.
Bob, you advise people to try to get along. I mean, you try to keep a lid on the situation, and that's something I respect about your firm. You're not really one of these the scorched earth kinds of attorneys. You're saying, folks, get through this, get through it respectfully. That's really the best overall approach, isn't it?
It really is. It's fundamentally what we believe in. We sit out there and see these cases all the time. And I think we all know someone that's been divorced, and you talk to them about it, and you think the divorce happened yesterday, and it's actually 30 years ago. And that just keeps going on. It's important for people to understand that the winners in a divorce case are really the attorneys if you're paying a lot of money for contested litigation. And some things are worth fighting about, but we've had cases where people fought about a blanket that's worth $20, and they spend $10,000 in fees fighting over this process. So, we try to tell people, remember that at some point y'all liked each other enough to get married in front of all your friends and family. And from that, try to find that good spot to start back, at this point. A lot of folks have kids, and it's important for them to get along. If it's working out bedtimes to who's picking up the kids, and you may not realize, but sometimes it's important to have that support person.
Steve brought up a very important point. Sometimes the trigger is an injury, some catastrophic event that's happened. How often do you see that?
You'd be surprised, probably most of the time. There's usually, people go along in their marriage for a period of time, and then something's the final straw, as we like to say. Yeah. And something just sends it over the edge, whether, it varies from case to case, but it does happen most times.
Yeah, well, our attorney, Stephen Liebell, thank you for bringing Bob Tharp and Meriwether and Tharp to us, and thank you for explaining this very complicated but important subject.
Appreciate it.
Okay, when we return, we have more consumer help for you, so